Welcome to Lost Girl Therapy. So we woke up today and my nervous system is tired, which also means that it's in a state of flare. So when it comes to POTS, jugular vein compression, any like major life change, you're turning your nervous system up to 125, and then you have to do deliberate things to lower that. So I am sitting here, I'm about to have a cup of tea, I've meditated, I've done everything. However, my nervous system is still very heightened. And the way that I begin to notice that is last night into today, I've started to become very hyper aware of my environment, both inside of my home and outside of it. I start to pay attention to sounds. I start to really become aware of like, do I feel safe or do I not? And the interesting thing is being in a new home, it's kind of hard to judge, like, do you feel safe or do you feel comfortable? And I have many methods to kind of handle it inside the house, but there's a different way to handle it outside. And I had filmed a video, but there's no way you would have been able to hear me over the street. So one of the things that I notice when I become very hyper aware of my environment and I am outside is that I am paying attention to my surroundings to a degree that makes me feel fearful, not because the environment is scary, but simply because my nervous system is rapidly moving into fight or flight, just because that's how it's conditioned due to POTS. What I do in order to get out of that situation is I start naming things in my environment, and I name them like a checklist. I do a broad sweep of where I'm at, and then I look for key markers. Number one, I look for places to sit down because my biggest fear is having an episode, fainting on the street, and not being able to like find a seat and injuring myself. Number two, I start to look around at the number of people on the street and how close they are to me. And this is very deliberate. If I need to ask somebody for help, which I have needed to in the past, I want to know that I have now clocked where everybody is. The third thing that I do is I start to go through the checklist of stuff that I keep in my purse. So I keep a ton of snacks in my purse. I have granola bars, I have walnuts, I have water, I have LMNTs. And I run through the checklist in order to reassure myself that in fact I do have everything that I need. The fourth thing that I do, and this is only because I am in a new city, I make sure that I still have the photo or the directions or the link to the nearest hospital or ER. In New York, it was easy because I knew where all the hospitals were. But here, if there was ever a situation where something had escalated and I needed to get to an emergency room, I don't want to feel that anxiety of, I feel an episode coming on, I don't know where to go. So I reaffirm, okay, you know where you're going, you know what the name of the hospital is, you know if you need to ask for it. The fifth and final thing that I do, which I actually start before I leave the house, is I start doing a body check of what my symptoms are. And then I work with positive affirmations. I start using affirmations like, you are safe. You can feel lightheaded and still be safe. You have been through worse. I don't know if that's necessarily a positive affirmation, but it seems to work for me. I tend towards the very like literal affirmations. You have been through worse. You've navigated this before. You understand what it feels like to faint. None of the symptoms that you're experiencing are that. And I find that actually calms me down. The final thing that I will do after I've repeated these a few times, and sometimes I will repeat them out loud if I am on the street. It just makes me feel better to hear the sound of my own voice. The final thing that I will do is go through a like meditation checklist that I have. And so I have a few recordings that allow me to kind of just like drop back into my body. These are recordings that I have naturally done before I've left the apartment. I meditate every morning and every night, but sometimes I need to reaffirm to my nervous system that it is okay. Even if it's overstimulated, even if we've been through a lot the last few days, even if we are in a brand new environment, we are okay because we have handled worse in the past and we understand how to handle the regular day-to-day or perhaps an emergency because we've gone through it before.